Alright guys, we are back and there is yet another deck list, or another two decks out. We have Trinity of Elements and Beknighted. I think those are the only two new ones. They've been releasing them in packs of two, so I wouldn't expect them to change it on me now. But let's go ahead and look at Beknighted because it's just mono white. It should be nice and easy to look at. Start off with Lionheart Maverick. Vigilance 1/1, pay 5, gets +1/+2 until end of turn. We'll see what the rest of the deck does, but I'm just kind of like, on that one. Target blocking creature gets +7/+7 until the end of turn. That's a white kill card for one, I guess. Not as good as Path, but, not bad. Quarter Paladin, Battlecry 3/1 for 2. And not sure what Battlecry is. Battlecry, I think, is when it attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each other attacking creature, maybe? I don't know. Someone needs to remind me because I can't look at it here. It won't let me hover over it. It's been a while since I've seen these. Flanking. Oh, they're bringing back all these old rules for me. Okay, so flanking is... I have no idea. Let's figure that out before we continue. So let's go ahead and go on to the next creature while I look up flanking on my phone. We have flying. Flying is nice and simple. We know what flying does. But 2/2 for 2/2 for 2. Flying is a perfectly good card. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. I would play that. It's unlike the other life gain cards. It's it actually has a boost to it. Even though it's just a one-time thing, your opponent attacks and you give your creature +2/+2 and then gain life off of it, can be game-changing. Swiftfoot boots. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. Hexproof and haste. 1 to equip, 2 to play. Those are actually really good. I would definitely play those because you can put them on scary creatures and give them some nice abilities. First Strike, Youthful Knight, 2/1 for 2 with First Strike. Definitely worth playing. Flash and First Strike. Very cool. Banalish Knight, I feel like is what that is. Alright, so let's go back here to flanking now that I have it pulled up on my phone, and we'll have to look at Battlecry here in a minute. Flanking is a keyword ability that gives creatures that block a creature with flanking -1/-1 unless the blocker also has flanking. So there you go. If you block this with a 2/2, the creature blocking it becomes a 1/1. So it's probably definitely worth playing because I think this is the only deck that I've seen flanking in, which is probably why I had to look it up. And I know I've seen Battlecry before, but it's been so long since I've played Magic or had anything to do with Magic that I've been looking at the new set, though. The new set looks stupid. I would definitely recommend checking out, what is it, Dark Ascension. Definitely some powerful cards in there. Okay, so we have a 2/2 for 3 with Kicker 3. Who is kicked and enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it and First Strike. I don't like him because even if you do kick him, he's only a 4/4 with First Strike for 6 mana. So these guys will probably come out. Great Sword, +3/+0. That seems to be the idea of the deck, is it's a very knightly based deck. Enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. I mean, he's a flyer. He's a 2/2, costs 3 mana. Probably not the best card in the world, but definitely worth playing in a format like this, I feel like. Knight Exemplar. Other knights, creatures you control get +1/+1 and they're indestructible. So you put the hexproof on Knight Exemplar with all the other knights out, and you basically win the game. Because your creatures can't be destroyed, and Knight Exemplar can't be targeted. And if you get the other Knight Exemplar out, which is obviously there, then, you know, you just get stupid powerful. So, let's go back over here, because I have Battle Cry up now. Battle Cry is a triggered ability, first introduced in the Mirror to Besiege, and gives a +1/+0 to each other attacking creature. So it's for each other attacking creature, not just him. So, I was wrong. Now you are a knight deck, and he is a 2 mana for a 3/1. I would highly recommend playing him, just because you have a bunch of big scary first striking creatures. So even if he dies in the process, I mean, and it's going to be something big to kill him, because I mean, he is a 3/1. They have to at least block with a 4 or bigger, or you're trading 1 for 1, and then all your other creatures with first strike are getting bigger. First strike gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Excellent card. Little Robin Hood Men in Tights looking, if you get what, or Zorro, the Gay Blade. You know, if you get what I'm going at there. Little overly festive looking for a knight. What's the flavor text on it? Flashlight daybreak to the fray. Okay, nope. Nothing good there. Zalfarin Commander. Flanking. Okay, so another flanking creature. Target knight gets +1/+1 to end a turn for 3. Ugh. I don't think so. The 2/2 for flanking is good, but the additional 3 mana, I mean, you want to be playing a creature every turn. I mean, he'd be good late game, but I mean, we obviously have better cards late game. I mean, we're halfway through the deck, maybe. Alborn Cavalier. Attacks, you may tap target creature. Excellent. Excellent card. It obviously lets you lock down one of your opponent's cards. I mean, they're going to hit you with it next turn, but, you know, it lets you get in for additional damage. His mana cost is a little bit high, but we'll see. Armored Ascension, +1/+1 for each planes you control and has flying. Very good in this deck. Very good. Cloud Crusader, flying for strike. 2/3 for 4 mana. Initial opinion says, nah, maybe. But I have played this. If I could show you the mana cost and the power and toughness with flying, like basically everything except for the name of the card, this whole part, dozens of times in drafts and sealeds, and they're just amazing creatures. And again, this format is very similar to a draft and or sealed type deck list. Now, there aren't a lot of 4 well constructed decks where it's like, oh, I'm going to play 4 Singer Vampires, or let's go with the zombie deck, 4 Undead Warchief, 4 Call of the Grave, 4 kill cards, 4 Sign in Blood, things like that, where it's just obviously a constructed deck. When they have a hard time dealing with a 2/3 flying first strike, you're going to be pretty well off, I feel like. That's a Kithkin. I haven't seen one of these since Lorwyn. Night creatures you control have double strike, apparently, because you can just hold 2 swords out like that and have double strike while you're riding on a goat. For those of you who don't know what Kithkin are, they're little tiny, like, halflings, almost. But they were all white and green and knightly and stuff, and it was just fun. I miss the Kithkin. Marshall's Anthem, very good. This is what you want to be doing with your mana late game, is, creatures you control get +1/+1, enters the battlefield, return up to X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of times it was kicked. You paid this for 12, and you're getting back stupid number of creatures. 3 creatures? No. more than 3 creatures, 4 creatures, 4 creatures. It's still morning, I just woke up, so excuse my math. 4 greater power, destroy it. Yeah, you definitely want something like this in this deck because all your creatures are very weak. So if you get the opportunity to kill a creature, this is a good card. I mean, it costs 4 mana, which kind of is like, but there's no downsides to it, like Path, you give them a land or anything, so definitely want to keep those in there. Windborne Charge, 2 creatures you control each get +2/+2 and gain flying until end of turn. This card I'm not a big fan of. It's only to get damage in. It's not an instant, so you can't use it to block. So it's just kind of not something I would play. And again, you don't really have much removal. This is your creature and enchantment removal. I would probably leave it in even though it's a bit expensive. Plover Knights, flying first strike, 3/3 for 5. Not bad. Again, they're Kithkins. But I don't know, maybe there's something better. We'll see. So obviously 2 more Night Exemplars come in. We'll take out these guys because frankly, 3 mana cost for 3 mana cost is fine. Another one of these guys. Well, costs what, 4 mana? We don't want to mess up the curve too much. Was there anything that was 4 that I didn't want in the deck? No. So we'll probably take out this guy. Sword of Vengeance, +2/+0, and has first strike, vigilance, trample, and haste. Basically everything but flying. It's a chroma without flying. I would take out the other one of those for that. Paladin and Vec, first strike, protection from black or red. Now, this is strictly a metagame card. I don't know what the field looks like and what this deck will have trouble with, but if it's obvious, but obviously if it's red or black, you want to play that. Once again, trying to keep to the mana cost of what we want to remove. I really don't see anything that costs 3 mana that we don't want. Oh, give me a second, guys. Just clicked out of the screen. That was smooth. Very smooth. So, you know, like I said, if this ever comes back up, patiently waiting for it to come back up. Let me go ahead and stop recording for a second and we'll be right back. Alright guys, so where were we? We were looking at Paladin and Vec and trying to find something to replace in the deck. Now, like I said, I don't like the Windborne Charge, but obviously if you're having problems with black and red, you'll need to replace something. I would not replace him. He's got flash and first strike. So he's just a surprise. He's just like, oh, I'm going to attack you. And then you're just like, boom, he's out the field. So flash lets you play it as an instant if you weren't aware of that. I mean, you could maybe... No, I wouldn't do that. Probably these guys if you absolutely need to play him. Simply because if you're going to tap out a creature that has a tap ability, they're just going to tap it in response. And if you're going to tap a big scary creature, you know, it's probably black or red. I mean, with the exception of green. But there aren't... Now, looking at the decks, I feel like if you're going against Kiora's deck, now you can't target Inkwell Leviathan or Simic Sky Swallower, so you know, you're like, oh, okay, I'll attack and not be able to tap anything. So, I mean, this is just kind of a preference card here. Like I said, I would probably leave these in until I knew that this deck has a problem with black or red, and if it does have a problem with black or red, these would probably be the swap. White Knight, protection from black, 2/2 for 2. Obviously that replaces one of the Youthful Knights, or one of the things that I didn't like in the beginning, this 1-cost creature. It obviously costs 1 more mana, but for vigilance, I don't know. For my idea, the new Magic says 1 mana for a 2/1 is acceptable. This is 1 mana for a 1/1 with vigilance. With vigilance, but you have to pay a ridiculous amount to plus it 1/2. That's stupid, in my opinion. Silver Knight. Once again, we'll replace the other one of those. Same reason. Spectral Rider. Intimidate. So it can only be blocked by white creatures, maybe artifact creatures, but definitely only white creatures. So let's see here. I obviously don't want to mess up the curve too much. I really don't feel like he's necessary. I mean, you can obviously do that in place of this guy, if you're okay with losing the flanking for the Intimidate. You know, here's where you'd have to look at the deck and decide, are bigger creatures scaring me, or am I losing games that I'm not getting in enough damage, that my creatures are so small I can't block anyway, and I'm not getting in enough damage? Because this would be the answer to that. You know, if you're losing games by 4 points of damage, you obviously want to swap these out. Personally, I'm trying to think what I would do. I mean, obviously you're going to have there's a ton of 3/3s in the format. But I feel like Intimidate would possibly be better. It obviously doesn't help you against white decks and or artifact decks, but there's only 2 other white decks, 3 other white decks, and a artifact deck. And the artifact deck might be one of those white decks. So, and I really, rarely see those played. Like, as much as I've played online and whatnot, it seems like those are the least played colors. So I feel like the Intimidate would be a good call. First strike, lifelink, 2/2 for 2. Excellent, excellent card. And that will be the replacement for the Youthful Knights. You know, I've been trying to leave them in there as long as I possibly can. But, you know, that's just, they're the better call, obviously. Because I don't think I've replaced those yet, right? I don't feel like I have. Mirroring Crusader. Double strike, protection from black and green for 3 mana. I mean, this is like a sideboard here. It's like, oh, what's the metagame going to be? Well, let me just throw in a whole bunch of creatures that have protection from colors. I would probably get rid of this. I don't like its cost. I mean, it's cool. It's a great sword. It's 3 for +3/+0, but the equip cost is 3. So I mean, obviously you play it on turn 3, you equip it on turn 4. It's a very expensive equip cost. So if the creature that's equipped dies, sucks to be you. You know, you got a ton of these guys and everything else in the world to pump your creatures. I would get rid of him. And like I said, I don't like this card. I feel like it's only to get in the damage. And if you're playing the Intimidate cards, you know, you don't need that as much. So that would be the 2 cards to replace for the Mirroring Crusader. Noble Purpose. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage, you gain that much life. It'd be nice if we had something that comboed with life gain. But on the other hand, I would trade out one of these for that. Absolutely. This is stupid life gain. Like, I played this back in Prophecies? That era of Magic. Marcadian Masks? Somewhere around there. It was in one of those 2 sets. And it was reprinted, I think, in 8th or 9th. Or somewhere around there. But it saw tournament play, so it's obviously a card that's got power. I would definitely recommend trying to fit that in the deck. Hold the line. Walking creatures get +7/+7 until end of turn. I would replace that one, this one with it, because one creature versus a board wipe right there. I mean, that's 3 mana to say, if you attack me, you lose the game. Sierra Embrace, +2/+2 has flying and vigilance as an as a enchantment. +2/+2 flying and vigilance. Maybe take out the other one of these. Yeah, I would take out the other one of these, giving another creature +2/+2 for 1 less mana, and vigilance is better than flying and first strike in my opinion. You lose 1 power, but you, instead of first strike, which almost every other creature has first strike, you give them vigilance, which is the ability to fly over and block. So I feel like that's a better combination here rather than these two, and it also lowers the cost or the curve of the deck significantly, because you're down to, you know, 1 less of these 5 costs. So you only got 3, and then it just kind of curves up better. This is the problem here, is you've got 3 1 cost and then 2 or 10 2 cost, but let's go ahead and close those stats out. Mass Calcify all non-white creatures. I would take out a Judgment for that. It costs 2 more mana, which is obviously going to be something hard for you to get. I mean, you play the proper amount of mana. This is, you know, my favorite amount of mana to play is 24 exactly. I don't like to go over 24. I feel like if you cut the deck too close to a crap ton of mana, that you're going to have a bad time. Or if there's not enough mana in the deck, you're going to have a bad time. But this destroy all non-white creatures, definitely worth playing in the deck, because there's only one other all-white deck. And like I said, I don't see the mono-white matchups very often at all. And the nice thing is this will kill pretty much everything, except for Ulamog. And Night of the White Orchid. Amazing. 2/2 first strike. Enters the battlefield. If an opponent controls more lands than you, you may search your library for a Plains card, put it in the battlefield, then shuffle your library. That's white mana Excel with creatures. So what would I replace then? We've obviously gone through almost all of the low-cost creatures and replaced them already. So, what would we get rid of then? It's the question. Because there's really not a whole lot more to get rid of. Huh. They obviously need to be in the deck. They're the last cards you unlock. So, maybe get rid of these guys. I wouldn't want to, simply because they do a lot of damage, and they're my idea of what a creature for 2 mana should cost. You know, something that powerful. I am really thinking these, simply because I don't feel like you're going to have a problem with life gain, especially after this is in here. You might have a problem with your creatures being too weak, but I feel like you've got pretty much protection from every color other than white and blue. And you have pretty much everything else. So I feel like this is what I would take out to put those in there. Now, whether or not that's a good call, you know, it's just one of those things that you have to play with. But overall, very fond of this deck. I like this deck a lot. I don't think I like it as much as some of the other ones. So, I mean, if you're looking for this to be the deciding factor to buy this deck pack, I don't think so. But let's take a look at Trinity of Elements. Now I'm very excited to see this because this is a very weird color combination to begin with. So, Evolving Wild, search your library for a basic land card and put it in the battlefield tapped and search your library. So it's basically the other Terramorphic Expanse. Hellspark Elemental. Very good card. Unearth is basically flashback for creatures. You return it for 1 turn, it swings and dies, and then no, it's gone. I think it's if it leaves the battlefield, so even if it gets bounced, it's gone. So, you know, if you're kind of debating on whether or not to bounce a Hellspark Elemental after it's been unearthed, I'm pretty sure that if it would leave play, it's removed from the game instead. Rapid Growth, obviously, you need to fix mana. Rip Plane Crashers, a 2/2 for 2 haste. Not bad. Cultivate, obviously, for mana fix again. Divination, card draw. Farhaven Elf, search your library for base clan card, put into play tapped, shuffle your library. Fires of Yamaya. Creatures you control have haste. Sacrifice Fires of Yamaya. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. This is the kind of card that I'd be like, this is probably one of the first ones I'm going to take out. Especially with all the scared Kabus. Look at them. They're terrified. They're like, oh, there's fire. Okay, but, Mana War. Enters the battlefield, return target creature to its owner's hand. 3 mana for that. Blue's looking really weak in this deck. I very well might take that out. Primal Force Mage. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+3 until end of turn. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. Obviously go with hasty creatures. We need to see how many more hasty creatures we have. We've seen 3 so far. The Hellsparks, the Rip Clan Crashers, and this Kavu. This is such a bad rare. Oh no, it's not. Flash. Woo! Declaring attackers. Kavu. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Ronin War Club, +2/+1. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, attach Ronin War Club to that creature. It's not a May ability, it's a have to ability. So this is obviously a null equip cost for the most part. Unless you want on a specific creature. But it's not a bad card. Pandemonium. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, that creature's controller may have a deal damage equal to its power to target creature or player of his or her choice. I mean, obviously, good if you're not playing against Kiora. If you're playing against Kiora, this is probably going to kill you, because they're probably going to be like, oh, hey, Simic Sky Swallower, I'll wipe your board. Because your creatures really don't have butts at all. I mean, they're just kind of like, oh, hey, I die. I'm here to hit you and die. So, I feel like this is probably something I would take out, because Kiora's deck is still very, very, very widely played. Rakamar. 1 red, tap with a 3/1 red elemental creature token with haste onto the battlefield. Excellent card. Definitely fits what this deck wants to do. 3/2 for 4 with haste. Not really what I would want. Blitz Hellion. Trample haste at the beginning of your end step. Blitz Hellion's owner shuffles it into his owner's library. Or into his or her library. Trample haste. 5 mana for a 7/7 trampling haste creature that gets shuffled back into your library. That sounds good to me. And Gaze Revenge can't be countered. So if you're having problems with those pesky blue Jace decks, it basically says you're dead. I was trying to think of a more derogatory term to say, but that's alright. Gaze Revenge can't be the target of non-green spells or abilities from non-green sources. He is a monster. It is a monster. Whatever it is. I don't know if it has a gender. So, there are obviously a lot of cards that I don't want to play. There are obviously a lot of cards that I do. Primordial Sage. 4/5. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. I would very well try to get rid of blue in this deck. How many cards is that to get rid of blue? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 blue cards in this entire deck. 6. We can replace blue in this deck. Blue are basically your only non-spells. I don't know where he fits in yet. Let's see what we have room for. Let's see if there's anything. Essence Warrior, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. That obviously gives you some sustain, but I don't feel like that's your purpose for the deck. Your first few turns, you want to be ramping up mana and getting up to creatures, to big scary creatures like this. Or to like this. Now, he's not that much mana, but once again, whenever another creature enters the battlefield, that creature gets +3/+3. So this is a 2 mana cost ball lightning that can unearth a ball lightning. I mean, that changes this little evil grin that it has there into just this terrifying grin. It's like, I'm going to kill you. I got trample and haste, and I'm a 6/1. Or I'm a 6/4. I'm sorry. So I really don't feel like these fit in with the overall goal of the deck. Let's talk about Blood Red Elf for a minute. I hate this card. Hate it. I've always hated it. This is probably the most broken card ever printed, in my opinion. 4 mana for a 3/2 haste is, you know, maybe not uncommon worthy, but it's good. Cascade. Cascade is when you play the spell, you reveal cards off the top of your library until you reveal a card with less mana cost. A non-land card with less mana cost than this. So, we cascade and we can hit let's see here. Where's 4 mana start? Right here. You can cascade into any of these cards here and get a free creature. I mean, you play this. Imagine this for a moment. This guy's been out in the battlefield for a turn. You cascade with Bloodbraid Elf, who has haste. He is now a 6/5 Bloodbraid Elf. And you cascade into him. He is now a 6/4 Raging Kavu that can attack this turn. You have 12 mana, or 12 damage, and you paid 4 mana for it. 4 mana for it. Now, I mean, that's assuming that you hit that card. But like I said, I would like to get rid of all of these blue cards out of here. So that way, you know, when you cascade, your chances are hitting something like this. And cascade is as it's being played. So I'm fairly sure that cascade is when it's being played. Let's double check that real quick, because that's kind of a necessary thing about what I'm going to do. Bring back all these old terms for me to have to remember. Okay, so I've got it. Cascade is... well, a spell... only the spell with Cascade is on the stack. Cascade means when you cast this spell, exile a card from top of your library until you exile a non-land card with whose converted mana cost is less than this spell's converted mana cost. You may cast the card without paying its mana cost. So that's while this card is on the stack. So obviously if you hit this, you'll get a 5/3 Bloodbraid Elf with haste. Doesn't sound bad to me. Let's see what we get here. We get a 5/3 or a 5/4 Bloodbraid Elf with haste. We get a creature and a land. We get 2 lands. We get a 2/2, which again is 5/4 Bloodbraid Elf for 4 mana. We get a land. We get a free creature that we can hit for 6 and then pay 2, unearth it, and hit for 6 again next turn. I don't know if I have to go into any more detail here, but he's broken. So obviously this will replace these. These are gone. Just because, like I said, I want to get rid of the blue. I don't think the blue is powerful enough to be in here. I mean, we have a Simic. It might be worth playing. Flash Flying 2/3 now. Ronin War Club, I would play another one. I feel like they're good enough. Replace that. Hornet Cannon. Put a 1/1 colorless insect with flying and haste named Hornet onto the battlefield. Destroy at the beginning of the next end step. I don't see what that does. Okay. So here's the purpose of the 2-colored, or the 3-colored deck. See if it's actually worth keeping the blue cards in, because, like I said, we might have to. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay blue and red. If you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay green and blue. If you do put a... Huh. 5 mana for a 2/2? I feel like he's going to die every time you play him. But he adds in sort of a more fun element to the deck. Because I mean, obviously, if you play a creature, I mean, you're not gonna have that many instants or sorceries. Because, like I said, I really don't like Regress. I mean, it could obviously save you, but I'd rather have Bloodbraid Elf personally, and not hit a Regress off of Bloodbraid Elf very often. But the ability to pay 2 more and get, I mean, you got Crazy Mana Excel. I wish he was a little bit more powerful though. He's kind of like burning his hand, but is he drew it? I don't think we've replaced these 2 yet, so I might take out one of him and throw him in there. The key is to keep this at 5. You don't want this to go above 5, so I don't know how it would affect it. This is a good card, but it doesn't fit your deck. Warstorm Surge. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. That's much better than this. Much, much better than that. Again, it costs 6 mana. But if you have out these guys, I mean, these are your combo. This is the combo of the deck. Primal Force Mage. I would probably take out one of these guys here, the other one, for that. Just because it is powerful. Enters the battlefield, tap all other creatures. I mean, very good. Very, very good. But is there something that we don't want to hit down here? Maybe these Fires of Yamavaya. Or I mean, he wouldn't suck to hit off of Bloodbraid. I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to go with. Is this creature worth hitting off of Blood, or is this worth hitting off of Bloodbraid? So I feel like this is the worst card to hit, because I mean, pretty much everything has haste. Well, I guess not. Huh? If I wanted to play Thundermare, where would he go? If I wanted to play a Thundermare, where would he go? I feel like if you can cut the blue mana down enough, that you could probably take out one of the Evolving Wilds. Like I said, if we take out 2 and add 1, I don't know if it's going to stay at 5 or if it's going to go down to 4. If it goes down to 4, I would take out an Evolving Wilds. If it doesn't, however, I would probably take out one of the Fires of Yamavaya. Not a big fan of doing that, but, target creature gains trample and +X/+X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. I don't feel like this is good in the deck. Simply because if you hit it off Bloodbraid, it sucks. Because there were obviously no attacking creatures if you just played a Bloodbraid. And How many Blood Braids do we get? We get two? Two. I obviously don't want to make everything around a Blood Braid, though. You really shouldn't have that many attacking creatures ever, because this is a chump blocker. You really don't want to attack with him. I mean, he's going to attack as often as he can, and he's going to attack every other turn, or every turn that he can, but he's only going to attack twice and then die permanently. He's going to attack as often as he can. He's going to attack as often as he can. I mean, there are obviously creatures that, you know, putting this guy out, he's going to attack as often as he can, but there really aren't enough creatures that I feel like this is a good card. Rite of Flourishing. Once again, we know my opinion of Rite of Flourishing. It's kind of the card that I'm like, I really don't like letting my opponent draw before me. And with no direct damage spells in this deck, I would have to say no to it. Just because you let your opponent draw the creatures to chump block your scary creatures with. I mean, honestly, if they can answer this guy and can chump block this enough to the point where they're just going to, like, your creatures don't stay out. Your creatures are meant to go in, hit hard, and then leave. Now, I'm going to punch you in the face and then run. You don't want your opponent to have the opportunity to start dropping more creatures than you. So I would not play Rites of Flourishing. Gigantomancer. 1 mana, target creature becomes a 7/7 until end of turn. Definitely in the deck. He cost a whole lot. He cost a whole lot. Whole lot. But the ability to pay 1 mana to turn target creature into a 7/7 gives you the opportunity to save creatures and or make 7 mana costs or 7 power Hellspark Elementals. Now keep in mind, the way the stack should work, assuming the deck is, or the game is correct, a creature enters the battlefield. This ability will go on the stack, this one right here, and you can turn target creature into a 7/7, and it'll become a 10/10. That should work even after, because it's getting +3/+3 until end of turn. That ability shouldn't matter whether the power or toughness is changed. So if you play this guy and he becomes a 6/4, and then you play him, or then you use his ability on him. So even if you miss the trigger, like the one I was saying when he was on the stack, it should still make him a 10/10. Should still make him a 10/10. But we need to find something to replace for it. Obviously, you don't want to replace Gaia's Revenge, because it can't be countered, and it has protection from pretty much every color other than green. So we have to find something to replace for it. Now, obviously, I think I would take out the other fire, the Fires of Yamavaya. Simply because we took out the other one, we might as well take out. There's no point in there just being one there. Yeah, it helps out Bloodbraid, but also narrowing out cards helps guarantee that we hit something that we absolutely want to with Bloodbraid. These 6 cards here are pretty much the only thing that I'm like, if I hit off a Bloodbraid, I'm gonna be like, oh damn. And even in that point, it's like, oh, free land. You know, I paid 4 mana for a 3/2 with haste and a land, or I paid 3 mana for a 3/2, or 4 mana for a 3/2 haste and a 2/2 haste. That's the bad. This right here, these 6 cards are the bad Bloodbraid call. So, Bloodbraid, Elf. So we obviously can't fit him in there. He's too expensive, and, you know, it'd be nice that whenever you cast a creature spell, you can draw a card. But I really just don't see a spot for him. If someone does, let me know what I'm missing to take out. Let me know what you guys think of the decks. Let me know what you think about this being brought in. If you're as astonished as I am. I mean, I guess they brought Lightning Helix and Path in, but this just seems like overkill. I'm glad that it's only a 2 of in the deck, but I mean, I would very well try to get this down in just a red-green, you know, maybe. I mean, it just depends. Like, I like this. I like the divination, and I like the bounce, and I also... This is more for cute than it is to actually be good. Just because it's like, oh, hey, I can Superman excel, or I can Super Creature excel. I mean, I can just do stupid stuff. You know, same thing with this. Yeah, it just gives you the opportunity to clear boards. Just powerful, powerful, powerful deck. This is the deck that I would buy the $3, or I would pay the $3 for the new decks for, because this one's nice and strong, and you know, the other one seems more balanced. This one just seems like I'm a punch in the face. So again, let me know what you guys think of the new decks. Post it down below, and I will see you next time.